Doctors are not financially free. Let's talk about it in this video. I'm going to share with you what I've learned that will help me become financially free and hopefully will help you guys become financially free as well if you're interested. If you are interested. If you're interested in my journey to become financially free, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, so that you can see more videos like this and my videos can be pushed out to other people that are interested in the video as well. What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Safo Asante. I am the successful IMG. I am an urgent care doctor working in the US. I make videos on a regular basis to help doctors become successful, and that starts with becoming a practicing doctor in the US by getting into residency. Doctors are not financially free. That's a fact. Let me explain. You spend many years trying to get into residency and then to practice as a doctor, so it takes you a long period of time. That's about 4 years of high school, 4 years of undergrad. If you do a master's, that could be 1 or 2 years extra for a master's. If you don't do a master's and you go to medical school right away, then that's an extra 4 years. So that's what? 4, 10, 14, and then you do 3 years of residency. That's 17. So about 17 years, 15 to 17 years if you do your master's or you don't do your master's of schooling. And during that time, a lot of your counterparts, your friends, they've already started practicing whatever job it is that they're doing. They've already started earning money. So in the first place, you're already behind the ball when it comes to money. When it comes to specifically being financially free, doctors, they make decent salaries. They don't make CEO money, but they make decent salaries. The reason why I say they're not financially free is their money is tied directly to the hours that they put in. So if they work 40 hours, they make that money. If they work 20 hours, they make that money, which means the moment that they lose the job, money is gone. And then on top of the fact that it's linked to the amount of hours that they put in. If you work so hard to become a doctor, you're making a decent amount of money, you don't want to leave and live in a bad place. You don't want to drive a bad car. You want to make sure that your kids get good schooling. All of those things would raise your living standards to a certain level where you have to keep working. For example, when I was a resident, there were a lot of attendants that were working many hours, and they kept working. They were about, I would say 70, 60, 70, 80 years old, and they were still working crazy hours. Now, I can't tell you specifically if they had to, but when I was seeing that, I said to myself, that's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna be tied to working so many hours because I have to. Secondly, when I finished residency and started working as a regular doctor, working with other physicians, I could see that they were working many hours as well. And I would ask them, why are you working so many hours? Do you have to? And they would tell you, yes, they have to. They had a divorce, they got to pay their ex-wife, they have kids that are living with the ex-wife, and they have to keep supporting the kids until the kids are about 21, or the kids are going to school, going to college, and because the doctors are making a certain amount of money, they don't qualify for certain financial products, so they have to pay out of pocket. All of that puts a burden on them, and they have to keep working. So you kind of just linked to working. You're not free to do whatever it is you want. If you don't take care and you don't plan properly, you're going to keep working many hours way into your latter years. I don't want to do that. I don't know if you want to do that. So I started thinking about the path of financial freedom when I was in college. I came across this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The link will be down below, so if you're interested in that book, make sure you read that book. We'll talk a little bit about what the book said. It was this pretty straightforward book. The concept it explained were two things. I'm going to explain them, and then I'm going to give you the terms for those concepts. Basically, it's the idea of things that you buy. That's a very important way to view things. You view things in two ways. So if you spend money on things, you got to think of those things in two different ways. The first way that you think about it is, if you're spending the money on the thing is it something that is going to keep spitting out money? So your money, let's say your money's on this level, and then you spend money on something, and let's say it's on that level, right? And then that thing is going to keep making you money. So the money is growing. That thing specifically is called an asset, and it's basically buying something that instead of going down in value, it spits you money. The second thing that he talked about was when you spend money on something, then the money that you spend on that thing, the value just keeps going down. Not necessarily the value keeps going down, but you have to keep spending money on it or it doesn't make you any money. That thing is a liability. And that's basically what Rich Dad Poor Dad is about. It's a book that tries to educate you on the importance of understanding that everything you buy could either be a liability or an asset. In order to become financially free, the idea is, and he doesn't say financially free, he says in order to become wealthy, rich, you have to purchase assets, which is you have to put down money on things that are going to make you more money in return. Now, the different kinds of assets, the different kinds of liabilities. Now, let's look at a house that you live in, right? So a house can be an asset, a house can be a liability. If you buy a house and you live in it, you still got to pay property taxes. You have a mortgage on it, you still got to pay a mortgage. So money is leaving your pocket. So it's not helping you become financially free. Now, there are some nuances that kind of change the equation, but in general, the fact that you're paying money out of pocket to take care of it, or you spent money on it and it's not giving you extra money, means that it's a liability. Now, this same house, if you move out and you rent it out to somebody else, and you rent it out at a level that it's paying the mortgage, it's paying the property tax, and paying all the expenses on the house, and it's making you extra money, then that house is called an asset. Now, in the same way, if you purchase like a decent car, let's say you purchase like a Toyota, you pay maybe $20,000 for it. The moment you leave the lot, the value of the Toyota starts going down. It drops significantly. And if you resell it, basically you'll make less money than you did. And it's not really making you money because you're driving it and you're spending things on the car. You're spending money on insurance, you're spending money on gas, you're spending money on fixing the car up if it has any issues. So that car is a liability to you. And if this same car, you take the car and you put it on Toro, and if that car is making you money, even though the car is depreciating in value, because that car is making you money back, that car becomes an asset. Understanding this is what will lead you to become a financially free doctor. How did this help me? It helped me see that any money that I make, I have to put that money into something that's going to grow. And if I put money into something that's going to grow, it's going to help me become a little bit more financially free at a time. Now, when I think about being financially free, I don't think about trying to make money quickly and just rapidly like everybody else does, right? I'm not trying to win money by the lottery. I'm trying to build it brick by brick in a consistent way so that it truly happens. Now, if I start thinking about making money so rapidly, then you also make it in such a way that you can lose money. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure that all the money that I make, I don't lose it and it grows gradually. So what did I do? When after college, I started reading this Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I started thinking about assets that I could buy with the money that I had, which wasn't that much. I had about $3,000, and that $3,000, I decided to invest in something. But I couldn't get a house because no banker would listen to me because I had no money coming in, and I only had $3,000. I kept researching, and the thing that I came onto was stocks. So I invested in stocks, and I was able to make $1,000 from that. And then when I got into medical school, I put a little bit more in there, and I grew that money about 3 times what I put in, and I was able to buy my first apartment that I lived in. I was able to buy a liability. However, I knew that that liability that I bought, even though it was a liability, it allowed me to pay less money on a monthly basis than I had to pay if I was paying for rent. I was paying about $1,100 a month versus For rent, I would have been paying about 16, 17, 1800, depending where I was living. And some of my buddies were paying $2,000 a month in rent for smaller apartments. After I purchased this, I knew that sure, it was a liability at the moment, but I was saving money on a monthly basis. And because I was saving money on a monthly basis, I was able to put more money aside. In addition to that, I knew that if I moved out in the future, I could rent that place out, which is what I eventually did. So I rented that out, and I'm making a little bit of extra money on a regular basis. And that's basically what my plan is. My plan is to continue building up on assets that are going to keep making money on a regular basis, so that the money that the assets make keeps going up because I keep purchasing assets. And at some point, the money that my assets are going to make are going to equal the amount of money that I'm making working as a doctor. And when that happens, I can do whatever it is I want at work. I mean, of course, you're doing the right thing, of course. But what I mean is the time that I spend at work. I can spend less time at work, more time doing whatever it is that I want, and nobody can tell me anything. And you can take care of all the different financial mishaps that can just completely derail you, like divorces and so on, after you've achieved that level of success. If you're interested in some of the other videos I made on money and how to budget, how to save, where you got to think about it, I'm going to link them down below. Make sure you watch those videos. That's very critical for you if you're trying to also become financially free. And if you're trying to join me on my financial journey, make sure you stick around and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button. That's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Dr. Safo Asante out.